What's happening in this country right now regarding our youth is an abomination, and it goes way deeper than falling literacy rates. Getting rid of phonics was the tip of the iceberg, and you're about to find out just how many sides this iceberg has. Now, the first issue is obviously the schools. Phonics was phased out over time and replaced with an inferior system. A quick Google AI overview search explains how this change gradually happened over time. But states are now taking back the changes and returning to the tried and true learning method after they started to see the disastrous results. That's not even to mention the changes that happened in math. Common Core math, in my opinion, is overly complex and complicated. If Common Core was implemented as an interior learning method to try and supplement and expand on math for those who had trouble or learned differently, then okay. But I know of kids who needed help with their homework, brought it to their parent, had their parent help them solve the problem, but ended up getting the problem wrong. Not because the answer was incorrect, but because the problem wasn't solved using Common Core. It seems like the focus is not on getting the correct answer, but instead it's overcomplicating the problem just because the student refused or didn't use the Lattice method. While kids are falling further and further behind in school, the problem is only being exacerbated by brain rot disruptions and a complete lack of discipline. First, let's discuss the discipline problem. Schools and society have moved away from harsh crackdowns in favor of a more soft and restorative approach. This hasn't made things better. It's contributed to a net decline. Instead of trying to follow the law or show people that if they don't follow the law, you will remove them from society so that they don't disrupt those who are following the law, we coddle the chaos and try to understand where it's coming from. That's not how we have a functioning society. That's how we cater to the lowest in society and forsake everyone else in society to make the problem characters our own personal pet projects. And don't get me started on the school to prison pipeline theory. People said that discipline was unfairly targeting minorities. Hot take, but maybe these minorities were just a little more unwilling to conform to the rules. And then there was No Child Left Behind. That made it so that teachers were honing in on special students who weren't quite meeting the standards. They were trying to catch them up to everyone else. Sounds good, but when the kids would fail state tests, then the teachers and the schools would get in trouble. The school would lose funding, and the teacher might even lose her job. This was leaving schools so focused on achieving state test standards that they were having students focus in on more narrow curriculum to achieve this. I heard from a student that they were often given packets of answers to memorize just before a test. This might make the teachers look good ultimately when their class shows high scores, but this shows an obvious lack in the teacher's faith in the student's ability to pass a test with their own subject mastery. And now we get to the brain rot. This is a multifaceted problem. Adults, largely millennials unfortunately, I too am a millennial, are lazy, weird, and have ultimately failed at parenting.
Alright, I'll do it.
Go on then.
We are in timeout until you're ready to be nice.
Yeah.
Are you ready to be nice?
No.
Okay, well then we're gonna stay out here until you're ready.
Laura Lane.
We start giving iPads to our kids the moment we realize that it'll shut them up, just to get less work for ourselves. Tablets and phones are a free babysitter. Would you let your kids into the Playboy Mansion because the bunnies said they'd watch Little Timmy for you? Well, I hope not. But that's essentially what these devices are. They're windows into the most depraved adult talk and behavior. No wonder kids are growing up so fast. The crack-like addiction that these kids are forming with these devices.
Parents considering giving their toddlers too much too soon in the way of gadgets might want to rethink that strategy.
This is what happens when mom and dad take away an iPad from 2-year-old Ashlyn Brooks.
Is turning them anxious, brain-rotted, and socially inept.
I hate it! I hate it!
Oh my gosh.
No!
Whoa, watch out.
No!
Is someone gonna do something?
Let her get it out.
But millennials are working more than ever. Both parents are working outside the home, and nobody seems to have time for little Timmy. If you account for how much money you're spending on work clothes, daycare, 2 cars so mom and dad can both work, hair, nails, and much, much more, I'm looking at you, Starbucks coffee, it would just be way cheaper and more beneficial for mommy to stay home. A lot of the time. Now, we're not talking about the instances where mother is a single mother or it's impossible, but let's be honest. Most of the time, it's hyper-masculine women subscribing to some feminist idea of what makes you a woman instead of doing the most important job, raising your kids and making a home. But hey, at least you get daily Starbucks, am I right, ladies? Schools are failing education. Adults aren't adulting, and kids are being raised by the internet and total strangers, with no consequences for anyone for their actions. What are we doing? We need to bring back common sense and good parenting. Wake up and protect your kids before it's too late. But hey, that's just a theory. This isn't that channel? I really need to get an outro. Subscribe and smack that ding-a-ling if you want more.